Hello everyone, I hope you're all well wherever you may be watching or hearing me from. My name is Wimbai Chuso. I'm the Director for Education and Policy Development in the Zimbabwe People's Party, the ZPP. I come to you today with our message, Zimbabwe People's Workers' Day, the 1st of May 2020. A happy Workers' Day to you all Zimbabweans, wherever you are. Before I continue with my message, I would like to shout a big thank you to all key workers who are putting their lives at risk to make sure that we are taken care of, we have all the services going as we are used to, and that those who are making sure that we are treated when we are sick. We thank you all. And we also thank all those workers who are behind scenes working so that we are also taking care of that somehow the systems continue working. We thank you. On a sad note, I would like to send our condolences to all families who have lost their loved ones to COVID-19, who were on who put their lives at risk so that we could be taken care of, so that we could have all the services that we are used to. We are so sorry, and we are praying for you. Today's important day comes at a time when our country has a 98% unemployment rate, with most people living on vending, dealing, corruption activities, cross-border vending, and donor support. To the 2% who are still lucky to be in their jobs, it is as good as being unemployed because the pay is as good as nothing. This has affected productivity in all sectors of our economy because a worker who is unhappy does not put much effort into his or her work. I can give you an example that high school teachers with a university degree are earning 3,000 bond, which is less than $65 per month. Teachers with a non-university degree are earning $35 per month. This is where we are as a nation, and it is pathetic. This kind of a salary is someone's hourly rate in other countries. Going to school is no longer meaningful because those who graduate end up jobless, or in other countries where they are reminded every day that they are foreigners and should go back to Zimbabwe. Our friends in the opposition believe that the US dollar is the answer to our economic problems, and our government believe in writing very long letters to the IMF begging for loans or donations, as we saw in Finance Minister Mtuli long letter, which is now even trending on social media. What does ZPP say? The Zimbabwe People's Party does not believe in the use of currency of another country. Using the US dollar is a big sign of failure. Any sovereign nation should believe in its currency and the business that backs it. We have so many resources to back our own currency. A ZPP government would simply focus on fighting corruption and ensuring that all workers' salaries are pegged to the buying power of our local currency. A Zimbabwe People's Government would increase productivity and stop exporting raw materials like cotton and minerals, but industrialize to sell finished products to the world. Selling finished products has more returns and benefits to a nation than raw materials. A Zimbabwe People's Party government would ensure that Western Union, World Remit, and all other forex dealers pay people in local currency so that no hard currency gets abused and escapes the Reserve Bank. The current situation where hard currency is littered on our streets is a big sign of fishy activities and dodgy monetary policies which are meant to benefit a few cartels. This is a result of politicians being the major players in business and also tenders. A Zimbabwe People's Party government will ensure that politicians stay out of business. Having politicians being business people is a recipe for what we are seeing in our country today. Let us be clean in the way we handle money and also the way we do business. Having forex on our streets attracts cash barons who trash our own currency. Zimbabwe People's Party will ensure that diaspora remittance, farming, and mining are well managed with serious transparency and accountability for the benefit of the nation and not for the benefit of individuals. Yes, we are under American sanctions, but still a country can develop under sanctions. For example, Cuba is under sanctions, but it is well. Our major problem is lack of transparency and accountability. We have a serious cockpit failure in all our systems. Zimbabwe needs to be reset in order to work again. This can only be done when Zimbabwe is run by a government of people who are fresh and untainted, and the party with such people is the Zimbabwe People's Party. We are not a project of anyone. We sponsor ourselves, and we are not power hungry. We are an effective and hardworking team that respects its constitution and values. Zimbabweans should not dump their vote on a councillor, MP, or president and then forget to review if the election promises are being fulfilled. Check if the MPs, the councillors, and the president you voted are fulfilling their election promises. You voted them in, and you should keep them on their toes by asking for results. Politicians who have no results should not be voted again. In future, let us vote for people on merit, not because they are members of a certain party that we like. Let us not like parties or individuals, but let us like leaders who bring results. For Zimbabwe to work again, we need to pull together as a nation. We need to distinguish between issues of party interest and issues of national interest. Whatever affects our nation, like sanctions, should be condemned by all political parties and Zimbabweans. Zimbabwe needs Zimbabweans to prosper. Competition between us and unnecessary fights, toxic politics is destructive and should be shunned at all costs. Voters should be active in pointing out failure and non-performance. Voters who do not ask questions and ask for results for election promises will always be taken for a ride. Zimbabweans can only be reset by a party of people who know what they want to do and who have lived experience of what they want to do. That is the Zimbabwe People's Party. Join us so that we can build our nation together as a united people. A divided nation can never be successful. Nations are divided by politicians who remain in election mode from the day they get voted into the next election. For workers to work happily again, the Zimbabwe People's Party would like to inform the voted officials from ZANU-PF and MDC to unite and drive our country to prosperity. You were both voted in 2018. Stop toxic politics and focus on nation building. The country is burning with poverty. Our disabled citizens, older people, and people living with mental sickness are on the roads selling tomatoes, and that's pathetic, and it is a big sign of misplaced priorities. Where are you, Mr. Councillor? Where are you, Mr. MP? And where are you, Mr. President? You were all voted in 2018. Don't sleep on the job. We need results, please. On another note, our party's director, Mr. Godnose Vesha, he had his rural home visited by 4 men in a big white 4x4 car last week. The 4 men identified themselves as soldiers and wanted to see Mr. Vesha in connection with leaving ZPP flyers at his shop for people to pick. They alleged that the Zimbabwe People's Party flyers were for an unregistered political party. Let me take this opportunity to inform the 4 men that the Zimbabwe People's Party was acknowledged by ZEC in October 2019. And also to correct them, ZEC does not register political parties, but it simply acknowledges them, so they should not mislead people in the rural areas. As a party, we have the right to distribute our flyers in which we are encouraging people to join us. That's the only peaceful way we can build our structures. We have written to the President Mnangagwa, the Police Commissioner General Godwin Matanga, Zimbabwe National Army Commander General Philip Valerio Sivanda, the Central Intelligence Officer Leader Mr. Isaac Moyo, the Home Affairs Minister Mr. Michael Madiru, ZEC Chairperson Mrs. Priscilla Chigumba, and Minister of Defense Ms. Opamuchinguri to investigate this counterproductive behavior. This behavior is bad to our nation because army officers cannot attend to civilian matters of political party flyers. If these people in the question were not genuine army officers, then an investigation should be done because such behavior tarnishes the name of the army. If they were army officers, then that should stop because it keeps us divided as a nation and do not bring prosperity. Freedom of association is important for nation building. Our party took this as an act of intimidation because the flyers in question have Mr. Vesha's mobile number clear, so anyone who would have been seriously looking for him would have simply called him on his mobile number than go around knocking on wrong doors. The contacts of the ZPP leaders are not secrets. They are all in public domain for anyone to use to contact us. Let us respect one another and build our country than to focus on acts of intimidating one another. Back to the Workers' Day. There is virtually nothing to celebrate. the country should join and unite in ZPP so that we can rebuild our nation as a united people and go back to rewarding work again. Zimbabwe People's Party will put money in every job to ensure that all jobs are attractive and rewarding if voted in power or voted into office. It can be done. We have Zimbabweans with degrees, diplomas, and colorful CVs who were forced out of Zimbabwe by economic hardships caused by gross mismanagement. These Zimbabweans are unfortunately working in South Africa, Botswana, Swaziland, Lesotho, Namibia, and the United States of America, and UK, the United Kingdom. They are working as farm workers, as housemaids, as carers, as waiters, as bartenders, to name a few. Some Zimbabweans were promised jobs that do not exist by scammers, and they found themselves in brothels as forced prostitutes and in jails as unsuspecting drug carriers. Other Zimbabweans who had good jobs in Zimbabwe left those jobs because of poor pay, went to the diaspora, and ended up homeless. The economic refugees have also seen their families disintegrating. Most of the Zimbabweans working in diaspora would want to go back home, but the economic situation is not conducive. A Zimbabwe People's Party government will create a conducive environment for Zimbabweans in the diaspora to return home and work together with the fellow Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe to rebuild a better Zimbabwe. Jobs. Zimbabwe has jobs like all other countries, but the pay is next to nothing, so no one is willing to stay in the jobs at all. Join Zimbabwe People's Party. United we stand, divided we fall. Thank you.